Hey guys, this is part two of my first future testimonial video, and I apologize for the bad cut and edit. It wasn't really planned. It was just something that occurred to me after I had already recorded everything, that to put everything in a single clip would make it too long. So here is the rest of the story. So the emergency. I was having dental issues about 10 years before this with my front teeth. And of course, I got these taken care of by a dentist, but he did not do a very good job, unfortunately. He left some of the cavity high up in my front teeth, and he closed the gap, the hole that he made with the drill. He closed it with the filling, and the cavity remaining up in my tooth just kind of spiked up into the nerve. I had some discomfort and pain, usually when hot and cold foods were involved, but I didn't think much of it because, again, the dentist told me not to. And several years, 10 years go by, and this cavity got from my tooth into the nerve, into the jawbone, and started to expand into a abscess. Now, one abscess expanded so far that it caught the next tooth, and then it in turn expanded so much to catch the other tooth next to it. And so I had three abscesses in my jaw without even knowing about it. One night I wake up and I'm in mild discomfort to pain, I would call it that. It didn't really hurt much, but I did feel something, definitely. And I was supposed to make a trip, and I thought that I should go to the dentist first to have this checked out because I didn't want my trip to be ruined. My dentist said there's nothing there, and I was like, okay, please use an x-ray. He did. And he found that there was a tremendous amount of pus accumulating in my jawbone, and he said, this is very bad. We need to get you to surgery as soon as possible because these abscesses are very big and they're still growing, and you're going to lose some of your teeth, and then we're probably going to have to put implants in. Now, all of this was a shock, really a shock to me, because I knew that first and foremost, a surgery of that scope would mean that I would be toothless for quite some time on the one hand, and on the other hand, that the amount of swelling that I could expect would probably set me back in my teaching. And I was like, oh my God, I'm involved in so much work, like these projects and stuff. And okay, this was something that I was afraid of, but none of those fears actually came true. I had my x-rays and I went over, got a second opinion. When it was definitely certain that I needed surgery, I went in and wrote an email to our Western scheduling team and to our HR requesting some time off, emergency related, for my surgery. And I said, I know that I'm involved with two projects and I have a lot of regular students, and like, please don't, take me off these projects or assign them to someone else. I was told that I would be unable to teach for 2 weeks max, because after 2 weeks I'm going to get dentures that were temporary but acted as a mask so that I could speak normally and look normally. And I remember within 15 minutes of me sending that email, I got a response that said, okay, don't worry about this. This is all going to be fine. We will, of course, grant you this time off. These hours will be taken off the MIS, off the schedule, and we are sending emails to the project schools now. And I was like, okay, so this is probably gonna take a few days. No. Within an hour, one project gave me the green light and they said, don't worry about it. Your students are going to be notified. Somebody else is going to be taking in to sub your classes, and they will be waiting for you when you come back. Within an hour and a half of that, I get the second email. LC says, don't worry about it. Be mindful of your recovery. And when you're ready to come back to work, you will come back to work. I was absolutely awestruck by how efficient this was. And honest to God, I was so pleased and happy and lucky to have a company that was looking out for me like that. And when the 2 weeks had passed, No, actually, it wasn't even 2 weeks. I think I was ready to go in like 10 days. And I messaged Liz, who was my direct supervisor at the time. And I said, look, I feel fine. I got my dentures. I would be ready to come back to work tomorrow if that's okay with you. And she was like, of course, like getting subs for all your lessons was really a nightmare. And we'll be happy to give you back your slots. And they did. And so, of course, I carried on teaching. Just like before. So other than this, I think a lot of these schools gave us, they had some kind of vacation schedule. We had problems with Donut, I have to say that. Donut would often tell us when our vacations would start, like 2 weeks or 1 week in advance. So we were pretty angry about that. But this was not the case with LC. This was not the case with any other project that I was involved with. And definitely right now, the project that I'm working with is not doing that same bad business practice. They're giving us our vacation times like at the beginning of the year, they give you the vacation slots for the whole year. And that's awesome. And so you can plan out your time. Additionally, you can also choose 6 or 5 or I don't know, something like that, days that you can choose to have off whenever you'd like. And I usually use those for holidays that we should be working on, or when I want to make a trip or something. So this is another important thing to say. You are committed if you join a project. There is a certain degree of commitment, but it's not all that bad. I mean, you can still expect to have some leeway of days off. It's not, limitless, but I would argue that it's still pretty good. Okay, so what happens next? I was working with LC and Donut. I was even able to change my hours with LC once because the shifting time zones that the Chinese don't follow, the shifting daylight savings times, we were able to change our slots to still keep the same working hours in our own time. That was awesome. And I worked like that, and LC got their change of business plan at, like I said, January 2019. So all teachers on the LC project were discontinued. I still carried on working with Donut, and I reapplied to get at least some of my slots filled. All the time, ever since I started teaching, sorry, all the way up till today, I have been working Flexi on and off. And Flexi is sometimes okay-ish, sometimes not so much. Flexi always varies, but the fixed schedule that I always prioritized was always, always, always reliable for me. And that's really something that I admire about the company. If they commit to your hours, they will keep that promise. So I was working Flexi on and off. I applied for another project, and I got called up for a project called DSJY. And a lot of the schools that we worked for were abbreviated like this, DSJY, JISK, or something like that. I don't know. And I worked for them for a short while. I worked for them for about a month, maybe a month and a half. And so I did that. And when the project was finished, First Future had already started this new position that they were looking for people to fill called the Teacher Mentors, and I immediately applied because I already had a lot of experience in the company. I had experience teaching students of all ages and all kinds of courses, Flexi, fixed, several projects, all that, and I got hired in June of 2019. So whenever there's a new teacher and they have some kind of question or inquiry, they come to me and I try to help them out as best as I can. I also shoot videos to help them deliver their lessons better and do all kinds of stuff to benefit newly hired teachers in the company. I do not recruit. This is something that I want to have said because I really don't like the energy of recruiters and agents, and I've talked about this in a different video. After the mentorship came when Donut got shut down. Donut got shut down for a lot of reasons, and I'm pretty confident that a lot of these could have been evaded, but that's a different story. And So this happened in May of this year. The pandemic had just started. The school was shutting down. I was not sure about what to do next, so I turned to the school and I said, okay, to the company actually, First Future, and I said, okay, so I'm having these problems. I need my schedule filled somehow, and so they put me back into the project seeking department, and I was offered several projects. I applied for all of them. A few rejected me. I don't know why, honestly. And I didn't understand it when it happened. Like, I remember there was this one project, kindergarten kids, and you were supposed to be all, perky and excited. And I love working with kids and I was really happy. But for some reason, they didn't like me. And so they rejected me. I got accepted into another one of those group class projects with the 4-letter abbreviation and all that. And I worked there for about 2.5 months, up until getting the request to try out for this school called TalkBee. TalkBee is very, very similar to what I used to do with Donut. They have class and lessons. They buy out your slots for a year in advance. And they were looking for new teachers because they were expanding their business. And I was very happy to interview with them. And I did. I passed and I got a contract for a year. So this is what I really like about the company. This is what I really like about the market. In terms of fixed shifts with First Future, if you join and you get a project, if they commit for a year, you're safe for a year. I've had contracts before with Donut, with LC, with all of these other smaller projects, and all of it was honored to the letter. So if they bought me out from, let's say, here's an example of LC, December 2017, all the way up to January 2019. This is the time period that they are going to pay for. First month was very slow. I didn't have a lot of classes completely paid for. And the same thing with the final month of me working there. So when you get a contract, you can feel confident that you have this kind of job security that not a lot of online jobs offer, that you're going to have a job for the next year. And this is something amazing, I think. And so, yeah, that's where I'm working now. And that's what I've been doing at the moment. So that's a brief, I would say a very brief history of my time at First Future. There were a lot of smaller things that happened, smaller projects that buy you out for like 2 or 3 hours a week. If you'd like that, that's also awesome. I always wanted a long-term, larger scope kind of project, and fortunately I got it. So this is something that I think you should consider, considering all of the changes that have been happening lately with the pandemic and overhiring of the teachers by schools and companies. I think you should really consider applying for a fixed shift with First Future, just like I did. I'm purely talking out of my own experience, and working there like a fixed teacher where you have a fixed salary, a fixed schedule, and not everything is booked also. So you also have some time to rest or maybe watch a TV show or something. So if that sounds like you're interested, check out the website. You can also directly talk to me and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Take care, have fun, and I hope you have a great day.